So, and I always wonder this, you have to believe your client to represent them, right?
Again, this is another thing I've learned in my practice. I don't ask you to speculate. I ask you to hesitate. We don't have to recreate what happened. We just have to hesitate if there's reasonable doubt. And I say that in all my jury trials.
What do you mean by that?
Well, again, if there are inconsistencies with stories, inconsistencies with evidence, something that causes you to hesitate in the graver affairs of life, that is literally the textbook definition of reasonable doubt.
And such a lawyerly response, right?
Right. I don't have to believe it. Who knows?
You don't. You don't have to believe it. You just have to represent.
Correct.
Hey, I'm Armando Leduc, producer, film actor, and owner of Leduc Entertainment. I've chosen a life off the beaten path and wanted to find others that are doing the same. Spaghetti on the Wall is a show based on all of the years that I've thrown spaghetti on the wall and nurtured what stuck. We will share fun stories, ideas, tips, tricks, and more. Welcome to Spaghetti on the Wall.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on when you're watching this podcast. Spaghetti on the Wall, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with another one. Jonathan Miller, what's up, man?
Not much. You can hear me okay? Coming to you from the great Southwest. Good to be on.
Can do, man. So we were just talking about whether or not you watched Better Call Saul, and said you were at his office and got to take some pictures, which was great.
Yeah, I love the show, but it was a great crime show, but it's not an accurate representation of practicing law in New Mexico.
What's the difference? What are some of the differences?
I don't think organized crime is not as big a deal here as it's portrayed in the show. While there is a lot of drugs and that sort of thing, I don't think there's a lot of crime. It's just not organized.
Heard. So why Rattlesnake Law? That's the name of your business, right?
Right now, we switched it to Crotalis Law when we formed the corporation, which means rattlesnake in Latin. I wrote a book called Rattlesnake Lawyer, and on Highway 285, it has been changed. I started my job as a public defender, and I was confused, and I asked God for a sign, and the sign said, "Watch for rattlesnakes." Literally right over the city limits, the county line in Chaves County for Roswell. And I started writing a book called Rattlesnake Lawyer, and the rest is history.
And so what is this book about?
I was a public defender in Roswell, and I did a fictionalized version of the novel, or fictionalized version of real life, and about the adventures of being in the outback of America. And I thought I was going to be a big-time lawyer all over the country. But now I travel around New Mexico doing cases all over the place, and I really enjoy it.
And it's criminal defense or personal injury?
I do all criminal defense.
Gotcha. And what brought you to that place? Like, why did you start doing this in particular?
I started at Department of Interior. That was my first job after law school at University of Colorado. And I thought I was going to be an environmental lawyer. I'd like to say I wanted to be the good guy for the bad guys. So I was getting a lot of experience in environmental law, and then budget cuts hit, and I was I'm from New Mexico. I was offered a job as a public defender in Roswell, and literally as I'm driving down there, I started recording a book, and the book would become Rattlesnake Lawyer. And all the adventures that I had are, I learned a lot. I sort of got over a lot of my weaknesses and fears and became a pretty good lawyer. And now
tell me a story.
Tell me
one of those crazy stories.
I had my hair cut by the mother of a killer. And the question is, how much do you tip? I really did leave the jail door open the first time. I had never been in jail, even, either as a subject, witness, interviewer. And the jail in Roswell at the time did not close, or the jail door didn't close, and I left all 3 jail doors open. My first time I went to jail to visit a client.
You left them open?
I left them open. They didn't close automatically, and I left 3 doors open back to back to back on my first day as a criminal defense lawyer.
Oh, because you were supposed to close them.
I was supposed to close them, and I didn't. And
How is that your responsibility?
I thought they would. It wasn't, but I was given a firm warning. And my first case, enough time has passed, so I think I can say it. It was an arson case. And again, this would be a matter of public record. I said, where there's smoke, there's reasonable doubt. And I won. And I still use that 30 years later. Where there's smoke, there's reasonable doubt.
Where there's smoke, there's meaning it's not clear.
It's not clear. If there is reasonable doubt, I often use that in my cases.
So, and I always wonder this. Do you have to believe your client to represent them, right?
Again, this is another thing I've learned in my practice. I don't ask you to speculate. I ask you to hesitate. We don't have to recreate what happened. We just have to hesitate if there's reasonable doubt. And I say that in all my jury trials.
What do you mean by that?
Well, again, if there are inconsistencies with stories, inconsistencies with evidence, something that causes you to hesitate in the graver affairs of life, that is literally the textbook definition of reasonable doubt.
And such a lawyerly response, right?
Right. I don't have to believe it. Who knows?
You don't. You don't have to believe it. You just have to represent.
Correct.
And create enough reasonable doubt so that the jury sides in the favor of your client.
Yeah, they have to hesitate. I'm not asking you to speculate, ladies and gentlemen. I'm asking you to hesitate. Here are things that hesitate. There's no other eyewitness. There's no video. There's no DNA. There's no this. There's no that. Why? I'm asking you to hesitate here in the graver affairs of life. And it's been very effective.
How good are you? You're good, huh?
I have my moments. I've appeared in all 13 New Mexico judicial districts. So I've been everywhere. I just had a fairly good trial in Tucumcari, New Mexico. I won a case that made national news. I'm not going to say anything else about it. A couple earlier this year. And I love doing what I do. I love being a defense attorney.
If you weren't doing that, what would you be doing?
Hopefully working for a show like Better Call Saul as an executive producer.
I know. Wouldn't that be great?
It would be.
So how do people find you?
Usually, I had a website called Rattlesnake Law. It's currently in hiatus, and we're in the process of putting it back together. But if you know it, I'm not that hard to find. You can just use Google, and my name will. Well, there are a lot of Jonathan Millers. Unfortunately, I was confused with Sir Jonathan Miller, who was director of the Santa Fe Opera, which I took as a compliment. But I have not been.
Yeah,
knighted.
no worries. I always wonder, how different entrepreneurs sort of market their business. What are your marketing tactics currently?
Right now, people come to me. I've got a contract. I'm not really doing that much private stuff, but I'm certainly always looking to expand.
So they find you through like word of mouth or?
Well, online. I've got a presence through Google. I've become very serious with my photography. As I travel all around the state, I'm taking a lot of photographs. So I've written a book, which I'm pitching, which I also hope is going to about literally. I've appeared in every judicial district and been to every New Mexico county, and I'm hoping this book of photographs, which I'm hoping to come out by the end of the year, is also going to be a good marketing technique.
Can you tell me why you think attorneys don't market as much as they should?
I don't think criminal defense attorneys in New Mexico market as much as they should. Personal injury attorneys market all the time. I've seen so many of my friends and colleagues with buses where they literally have everything on a bus. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So
why would it not work, in your opinion?
Because there are too many buses and there are too many attorneys. And I did have one moment where one of the leading personal injury lawyers in New Mexico, I was going by his sign, and there was a rainbow literally landing on his sign. So I emailed it to him, and I was hoping he was going to use it and give me credit. But I don't think criminal defense attorneys, a lot of them are doing jail mail. Some of it works. And, I think you've got to be a good attorney first, and people will hear about you.
What's jail mail?
Jail mail is a lot of attorneys send out letters. So you've been convicted of a crime and you're still in there. A good attorney is blah, blah, blah. Please call me right away. And there is a service in New Mexico where they send out hundreds, literally sometimes 1,000 emails a month to people that have been arrested, usually for DWI or other crimes.
And that goes out to you guys?
Well, I've heard about it. I mean, I've seen it, and I did. One of my best friends, a real close colleague of mine, does that and is earning a pretty good living as a criminal defense lawyer sending out jail mail. But once he gets the cases, I don't think he really knows what to do with them.
So wait, so the jail mail goes to people that have had DWIs?
If you are arrested for a DWI, there's a website that you can find that information. Somebody, I don't know whether it's a computer service or an actual person, will then mail a letter to somebody to try to solicit their business.
Is that allowed?
It is
in
allowed
New Mexico?
in New Mexico.
But not other places.
I don't know if other places are doing it. I know several attorneys that are doing it in New Mexico.
Do you do that?
I don't.
Why not?
I don't want to get too many phone calls. I guess you need more staff to weed people out because you'll get 10 phone calls, one of which is good.
Gotcha.
And
so how many people are in your firm?
Just myself.
Gotcha. How do you like being a solopreneur?
I like it. I've got a lot of things going, and I don't think I could work for anyone else, but the right situations never come up.
Heard. And talk to me about social media when it comes to like law firms and how they're using it appropriately to get more business.
There are people who I know several of my friends that have Facebook pages. And there is one prominent attorney that's got a national case who continuously posts on Instagram. Mm-hmm. And I think it's working for him, but I certainly don't recommend it.
You don't recommend social media?
Well, I don't think you're going. Well, here's the issue of what could happen is, let's just say you go to trial and you write going to court in Alamogordo, and then all of a sudden you lose the case and everyone knows that you went to court in Alamogordo and you lost the case. So I don't think it's effective, and I think it can be. My one concern is I think it can be inappropriate. Is that
in what way?
If you lose a case and you show a picture of, here I am vacationing in Cancun, great week, big week coming up, and a client can misinterpret it. That's why I limit everything that I post on social media.
If you were posting that type of content, that would definitely be bad for business. But I think that and I think a lot of entrepreneurs are missing the boat on social media because they think that that's what they should be posting. And I think more value build content about, answering questions about, criminal defense and what people need to do and the 5 tips that like they should be considering, and using social media. That's how we use social media and how we do social media content for attorneys across the country. We're never sort of just kind of flexing and showing how great we're living our lives on social media. It's more about how can we help our clients? How are we answering questions? How are we setting ourselves up as an authority,
I think
in
that would
space?
Be very effective. Yeah,
for sure. It most definitely is. I've seen a lot of attorneys use it to really good results. So you're right. You wrote the book, The Rattlesnake Lawyer, right?
Correct.
Is this on Amazon or where can we find this book?
You can buy several of my books. I don't have any. I've written 12 novels. One of my novels, Luna Law, won the Hillman Award for Fiction in 2017. But there's a whole Rattlesnake Lawyer series, which is fictionalized versions of some of my adventures as a lawyer.
Sounds like you got a series on your hand, man.
Yeah, let's just say it has been optioned, but because of the writer's strike, everything's on hold.
Well, good luck to you, man. Tell them where they can find you, Jonathan.
My website should be up fairly soon by the time this comes. It's rattlesnakelaw.com. I
Very
also
cool.
have a LinkedIn page for Jonathan Miller. And I have a Facebook page for my photography, which is Rattlesnake Lens.
Nice. I'm going to check it out. And you guys check it out too. If you guys need criminal defense in New Mexico, check out Jonathan Miller. I appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you very much.
All right. And that was Spaghetti on the Wall, ladies and gentlemen. Brought to you by Leduc Entertainment for all of your social media marketing needs. Podcasting, we got you. And you can watch Spaghetti on the Wall anywhere where there's a podcast. Just Google us. Super easy to find. And we'll see y'all next time.